What's up, everybody? We are back for the 10th podcast. That's right. We've made it 10 weeks here during this quarantine. We started this, and we're going to continue going. And this one is primarily going to be about the NBA draft upcoming. Our guest is Corey Homicide Williams, a former pro basketball player. He played with the Raptors for a short time. He played in the G League, and he played in the NBL. And that's what we're going to talk about a lot. He has now switched his career over to commentating in the NBL, calls himself the Aussie Stephen A. Smith. We're going to get more into that. And Corey Homicide Williams. I know Corey from back in the day, from street ball scene in New York. He went to Rice in New York City. And yo, what's good, brother? How you doing, man?
Yeah, just vibing.
What time is it?
Westside Gun new album.
Is that right?
Yo, this album is crazy.
So what time is it over there in Australia?
It's noon. It's 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday.
Dope.
Yeah.
So for someone who doesn't know your basketball pedigree or your basketball background, if you could kind of give that quick bio of your basketball background and the crazy turns that you made, because as the saying goes, of not everyone has the same path. Like that's very true with you.
Yeah, man. Just a young man with a dream, from New York City, born and raised in the BX. Shout out to the BX. Prayers going out to, the hometown. It's really bad right now in New York. It's bad in the world, bad in America, but New York City, man, never would I ever thought that, the world would be in a situation like this, let alone, the home front. So my prayers go out to everybody on the front line and everybody just, in this space at the moment. But, coming from the Bronx, graduating college, basketball is the mecca, obviously, New York City. And I had a dream. And my dream was to make it pro. Graduated college, wasn't that good. And I had street ball. That's all we had. We all know street ball at that time. It was the mecca, basketball in New York. So I came back home and I had to literally kill the streets. So I got the nickname Homicide. I ended up getting a shot to the NBA from the park, which doesn't really happen. Grateful for the opportunity with Toronto. Did the whole circuit, summer league, the minor league, back to Denver, back to the minor league, won a championship in the D League. Long story short, ended up playing 14 years abroad.
Wow.
Got MVP of the league in Australia's NBL, which is the hottest league in the world outside the NBA at the moment. Now I transitioned from playing basketball to being an on-air analyst for the NBL. So that's why I am currently in Australia. Had an opportunity for us to reconnect in Australia. You covering Team USA. I obviously was doing all on-court interviews. Team USA, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. So it was an incredible opportunity for the full circle to come, for us to cross paths personally again in Australia in front of 55,000.
Yeah, for sure, man. That was a special trip, and I tell everyone that was my second time in Australia. It's a special place, Australia, man. It is a really special place. It's one of those places when you go there, you could really see yourself living there. So I could easily see how you set up, man. It's a beautiful country. So I want to get into the NBL. That's a perfect intro into what you're doing now. You went over to the NBL and it grew into this thing that maybe you couldn't have even seen it coming, and now you're on the other side of the basketball. You were MVP in that league, but now you're behind the mic. And what has that been like, and what was last year like when LaMelo came, RJ Hampton came? It's like you guys were the center of basketball for a little bit.
I think no one would have thought that the league would have gotten to this point. I mean, it was the hottest league to talk about, especially last season with Melo and RJ playing in it. I call those guys the leaders of the new school, and no disrespect to the first guy who really did it was Brandon Jennings.
Correct.
You know, he's the leader of the new school. Shout out to Brandon Jennings, a.k.a. Tough Crowd.
Tough Crowd, yeah.
These guys were the, Generation Z. The leader of the new school for Generation Z, Generation X, whatever people call it. But for these two guys that are so talented to have the balls to say, look, I'm not going to NCAA. We're going to Australia. They have the Next Stars Initiative, and we want to jumpstart our pro career, throw us in the trenches. And that's what they did. And for them to perform the way they did, it's incredible respect to them, their character, and I just wish them the best for the future and what's happening. For me, that was boot camp for them in terms of preparing for the next level. Wasn't a cupcake league. It was not easy. There's a lot of trials and tribulations. RJ Hampton played 20 minutes a game, and they were points away from getting into the playoffs. On the other hand, Melo, they were in last place, so he had to do a lot more than required because of the level of where their team was in dead last place. But with that, he had to play more, so we actually saw what he was actually able to do in terms of performing. So was grateful to have an opportunity to watch these guys do their thing, and it was great.
And as a basketball analyst, if I could ask you to put that hat on, so to speak, what'd you see from LaMelo's game? I'm out in California, so I've happened to see him, and I know how special he is, but what'd you see when you saw him play against grown men like that?
Here's the thing. I never saw Melo Ball play prior to coming to the NBL. I'm a New Yorker, man. We don't really buy into hype or what other people say. We actually want to see it with our own two eyes. So that's how I was on it. When he first came over here, we got news that he signed. I was like, this shit's not going to work. Because of the hype machine, LeVar, I said, if LeVar's coming over here, this is definitely not going to work. I never saw the kid play. But just the fact that LeVar is too much at times, and he rubbed people the wrong way, and it casted a negative image on his children. Sometimes he talked too much. So I fell into that perception. If he's coming in, sometimes they say I talk too much over here. Sometimes they can't take me. So there's no way they're going to take LeVar.
Right.
So I just figured that he would overshadow his son. The best thing that happened was LeVar did not come. He fell back, entered Jermaine Jackson, the mentor, the manager, the big brother of Melo Ball. Best thing that could have happened because he's a journeyman. He's played 16 years pro, played in the NBA, played overseas, so he understands the vibes, how to carry yourself, how to be a professional, how overseas basketball works. He protected him as best as he could and kept him focusing on basketball and only basketball. So he comes over. We do a show called NBL Overtime. That's our show. These guys come on. I get in their asses quick, RJ and Melo. I said, name the top 3 point guards in the league. They said, Casper Ware. They said, Bryce Cotton. I said, ain't a point guard. Slapped the table like that. Shook them up. I said, what y'all gonna do? First of all, you didn't do your homework. You come into a night with a gunfight. You don't even know who's the best players in the league. Focus when you come in here. Guys are not gonna just lay down and think they're just gonna make your highlight tape. It ain't going down like that. Guys, this is a pro league. Guys have mouths to feed, rent to pay, and child support to pay if they're not with their kid's pet mother. That's just the reality of it. So you better bring your A game. First game, I saw Melo play. Preseason, playing against the back-to-back defending back-to-back champs, and the 6-time defensive player of the year, the Australian Patrick Beverley, is who he played against. His first game, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 3 steals, 7 assists, and they win in overtime. Right there, in front of 50 NBA scouts, I said, I just saw the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. That's the benchmark for me for any point guard coming over here. What can you do against Damian Martin? If you're playing against a tough-ass defender, there's no off switch. Patrick Beverley does not take a game off, a night off, a possession off. He doesn't know how to. That's Damian Martin. So for him to do that and win against Damian Martin's defense and the back-to-back defending champs, who are now 3-time champs.
Wow.
For him to do that against them, I knew then this kid was the real deal.
And what was it that impressed you in his game? Like, what was the main thing that you saw? You were like, oh, that's gonna translate.
He wasn't rattled. He wasn't poised. His ability to be able to create plays. He's a natural playmaker. He's 6'7". What are you gonna do with a 6'7" point guard? He can see over the defense. Any doubles coming, he can see. He reacts well off the defense. It didn't bother him at all. You can tell he's used to playing it with older guys. It didn't rattle him. None of the pressure. He was able to make every play he wanted to. So that was the most impressive thing to me. He was in full control of everything they threw at him. At the end of the game, they started doubling him to get the ball out of his hands. He just turned 18 years old. Are you kidding me? I was super impressed.
Wow. Yeah, that says a lot. Our guy, our mutual friend, David Zenon out in New York is saying that he's got him as #1 pick, and I know you're real high on him. So that's kind of a good transition with comments coming in now about that. Where do you see that now from what you saw in Australia? What do you see that now translating into the NBA, and what do you think is his draft stock? Like, where do you see him going?
Number one, I see him going #1. Number two, let me tell you why I see him going #1. That's just preseason, first game. People can say, it's just preseason. Maybe the guy wasn't going that hard. Melo Ball was projected 46. That ain't even a projection. That's not even nothing to talk about. He was on the mock draft at 46.
Wow.
When he touched down here. He went to #1. Look, people can say, you know what? This guy's an analyst in Australian NBL, right? This is not ESPN America, blah, blah, blah. Who is this guy? Okay. After that fucking game, you know what happened? Do you know what happened?
No, well, I mean, I know he went on a tear.
Van Pelt went on TV and apologized about what he was saying about Melo. Okay? Scott Van Pelt, it don't get no bigger than him. He don't have to apologize to nobody. Okay? All the execs went crazy. Jason Williams, you know who I believe is the #1 pick? He's the most talented in this draft. It'll be Melo Ball. He's playing against men. He finished off the last 2 games in the NBL. Back-to-back triple-doubles. Are you hearing me? Back-to-back triple-doubles. Let me break some shit down to people who do not understand what an assist is in international basketball, okay? In the NBA, you can take 2 or 3 dribbles and still get an assist.
Right.
Overseas, you cannot dribble. You do not get an assist.
Off of 1 dribble?
If you don't get an assist. It's catch and score. He averaged 17, 7, and 7, okay? On the last place team, he had guys who were not able to consistently knock down an open J, okay? He had older veteran big men, okay, who were not able to finish a lot of the plays around the basket. So if he averaged 7 assists overseas, what is he going to do in the NBA with guys that get paid millions of dollars to knock down shots? Athletic bigs that are able to finish, and you can dribble. That's a walking double-double. I'm telling you right now, he's averaging a double-double going into the NBA.
Yeah, that's...
When he hit his first triple-double, he played against Scott Machado. Scott Machado played on a team that almost went to the championship here. He was the best point guard in the league. Last year, he finished with the Lakers, Scott Machado. Okay? You know what the numbers was against the assists? You know what the numbers was against Scott Machado? For Melo with his first triple-double? 22 points, 13 assists, 12 rebounds, and they won in overtime. And the GM of the Charlotte Hornets was sitting half court and saw that.
Right.
I'm telling you. Then the next day, he did it. 2 days later, he did it against New Zealand, which is a team R.J. Hampton plays for. Back-to-back triple-doubles. The first in the history of the NBL.
Wow.
The youngest kid to do that.
That's saying a lot.
It's not easy to do.
No.
It's never been done before.
Wow. To
He
go...
got injured. They shut it down because he was injured. And Now, they didn't want to rush him back. I'm just telling you what I saw. There's flaws in this game, all right? Because everybody got flaws. Defense was something he needed to work on. He never had to play defense. It's a kid that played in an AAU program. And then after that, his dad put him in a league he created. And then after that, his dad took him to Lithuania. His dad controlled the narrative. Which, if any dad can do it, that's what you do. But now, this was the first time he really had to play defense. And he improved better every game. He still got ways to go. But that's an effort thing. And he was showing the effort. The other thing is being able to consistently knock down the three-ball. Those two areas he works on, and that's an effort thing. That's just more focus on it, and he shot the ball better as the season progressed. So that's just more about, repetition and effort. There's no way he's not going to want to do that and not get better where you are, where you want to be, which is the NBA, playing against the world's elite.
Yeah, well, you could definitely see how you got your job breaking down stuff for Aussie NBL, dude. You're passionate about it. It's awesome. And it's awesome info because not a lot of people have this insight on LaMelo, or at least that are on TV. A lot of people are just going off of scouts, right? Like, Australia is other side of the world for us. But what did you see from him in terms of his stardom? Like, it's crazy. Like, I remember when I first moved to LA, he was still in high school, and he had like 2 or 3 million followers on Instagram. So he already is a star. Like, what'd you see from that aspect of his game, and how do you think that translates in terms of rumors of obviously sneaker deals and stuff like that?
Well, for me, he came over here with 5 million followers.
Wow.
I look at their family, okay? They are the basketball Kardashians, okay? That's what they are. They got their own wave. They got their own following. He's the baby. He's the leader of the new school. He got the whole next generation. You got the big brother who's in the NBA, killed at UCLA, well-deserved, found the role and is thriving now, playing his best basketball of his young career with New Orleans. You got the middle brother, who's the middle brother, got to find his way, right? And then you got the baby, who literally comes from a dad with, they got nothing but talent. All their last name is Ball. It's a marketing dream.
Right.
Okay? Everyone saw their house. If you didn't see their house, just Google it. These guys ain't come. This is not the hood story. The hood ball player does well, takes care of his family, takes his family out the hood. They rich already. All right? So they grew up in this. He's basically like the Kylie and Kendall Jenner. He just ain't hit $1 billion yet. They drive Lamborghinis. He owns a Lamborghini. They come from money, and they are super talented.
Super talented.
That's the hard part, coming from money, because that's when decision makings come in, right? He know how to dress. He nice and ball. He's going number one, if you ask me. He's super talented, super humble, grew up in his stardom. It's not going to rattle him when he gets to the big show.
True.
It's everyday life.
Yeah.
It's already what he's used to. Okay? Everywhere he go, there's cameras following him. That is a franchise's dream. We don't have to hype this up. He comes with the own wave.
Yep. Yeah.
I saw him in Foot Locker, right? I saw a video. He went to Foot Locker, Australia, to do a Q&A. When he left the Q&A, jumps in the car, and kids are chasing the car down the street, surrounding the car as this car is trying to exit. I said, if he's able to do this in Australia, what's going to happen when he gets to the NBA back home in America?
Yeah. I saw several people on Twitter had rumors last week of teams positioning for him. do you have, is that just rumors? You have info on that, or what is that in terms of like what teams want him? Is that just like you looking at a roster and being like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to try to jump up for him, or are you hearing more rumblings than that?
Well, anything I hear, anything I tweet when it comes to this young man is stuff that I heard. Like, you know what I mean? It's coming from a valuable source. You know, so the first thing, you know, I had a discussion, and Nick Nurse loves him. Toronto likes him a lot. So they are trying to position themselves to get him. That's just a fact.
Right.
Right? Kyle Lowry's from Philly. Kyle Lowry has legs still. He got a few years left in him. Okay? Probably the best Raptor ever. As a veteran, as you know, if you have an opportunity to finish your career at home, how many players would love to do that? You understand what I'm saying? How many players would love to do it?
Right.
Okay? And it's Philly. So in my head, I'm like, a multi-team trade would have to get pulled off for this to occur. This is a conversation. It's not like GM spoke.
Correct,
This
yeah.
is a conversation that went down.
Yeah.
I didn't say, well, Philly is talking with Toronto. I said Toronto wants Philly.
Is interested.
I mean,
Yeah.
wants Melo.
Right.
And Lowry would love to go home and play. But if something like that were to happen, who has the number one pick? Golden State is going to get it this year. So some way it would have to be a three-way trade. It can't be a direct trade, Golden State, Toronto. There's no pieces to give up. So ultimately, if a point guard's coming in who'll be number one, he's the future. Number one pick ain't coming off the bench as a point guard, which means Kyle Lowry would have to go to Philly. Ben Simmons ain't coming off the bench for Lowry. Ben Simmons worth $250 million. Lowry ain't coming off the bench behind Simmons because he's a championship winning guard who can still play. Simmons would have to get moved. It would have to look something like that. So that's what I posted. Myself and Rashad Phillips.
Yeah, I saw both of those tweets, and man, imagine Simmons in the Warriors. That would be unbelievable.
Come on, man.
I couldn't, but what from Philly's standpoint, they would have to get something else back.
No, 100%. They would have to get a lot. And like I said, this was just something that
it's talk.
It's like a conversation you and I having. Like, well, if a point guard's getting drafted, a point guard has to get moved. And if that point guard
Right. You're just looking at the dominoes.
That point guard got to get moved.
Yeah, correct.
So everybody started going crazy. Corey, you don't know what you're talking about. If Woj don't say it ain't real. This is a bad trade for Philly. I was just said hypothetically, like something like this would have to occur.
Yeah.
I didn't say anybody jumped on the phone, but that's why we got Twitter to have conversation.
Of course, especially during this time, man. It's interesting just to start imagining hoops. Like it's awesome. So, what about other guys in the draft? Is there any guys that you've taken a look at, or is there any guys that with your I don't even know if that's part of your gig, or has it just been Hampton and LaMelo you've been focusing on?
Well, I don't really focus on the draft. That's not my thing.
Right.
Still things that, I had the pleasure of seeing these young men.
It fell into your lap. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I focus on how their development is and where they may land. RJ Hampton had a good season, too. What was good for him was there was a lot of turmoil at times with his team. So he learned through others' mistakes how to carry yourself as a pro at all times, what not to do, which was a blessing. He had a coach that had a one-year deal. His coach wasn't focusing on developing him solely. His coach was focused on getting to the playoffs and renewing my contract, which he played sometimes 25 minutes. Sometimes he might have played 18, 15 minutes. It was inconsistent because that team was stacked at his position. So, it's a gift and a curse sometimes going on a team that's good at a young age. People be like, you're learning a lot. Well, if you're not fucking playing, how you really learning?
Right.
I'd rather get thrown in the fire, lose lose every day and play all the time. Now I'm learning as I play.
Yeah.
And that burning desire to want to win is now really within me. Because I'm not dominating this level. It's hard, which it's supposed to be hard. That will allow you to raise your level and level up. So, it's a gift and a curse. But RJ Hampton is super athletic, end-to-end, the fastest and quickest player in the league. He can play several different positions with the right coach and the right system. He has star written all over him. He will be a lottery pick. Let me give you a fun fact about RJ Hampton. That kid graduated high school in 3 years, so technically this was his senior year.
Wow, that says a lot.
That is incredible in itself.
So he's like, what, is he 18, 19 years old?
He's 18.
Wow. Yeah, that says a lot. Yeah, no, that says a lot, because there's kids in high school that are 19.
Incredible family, had an opportunity to sit down and have breakfast with his mom and his dad, and, incredible family, man. Well-rounded. Shout out to Rod Sr. and their little brother as well, his little brother. So it was a great family. They all traveled and got this experience together. So it was great. Like, he for sure is a lottery pick.
What about just the NBL in general? Really impactful, obviously, in the last couple of years. And now we're seeing the G League now, guys. I know Jalen Green just made that decision, a couple other guys, and now that's becoming, it's almost a similar avenue as the guys just took, but they're staying at home.
Adam Silverman came out and said once RJ and Melo announced they coming to the NBL, you know what? I'm jealous of them, and jokingly, and he said, look, this is an incredible opportunity. They're doing great things down there in Australia in the NBL, and if I had a child out and was able to go to the next level after a year, I'd send my own child to the NBL.
Yeah.
That's what he said. So at that point, it's like, with the success and the attention that homegrown talent is getting in Australia, and you as the commissioner of the NBA are watching this, you're basically saying, like, we got to do something about this. We can't lose our homegrown talent. And sending them a day away to Australia. We got to do something. So he and Sharif Abdul-Rahim, which is the president of the G League, look, I'm not in these meetings, but I'm pretty sure it goes something like this. Look here, man. We setting up shop ASAP. We're not allowing any more of our one and done talent to go to Australia. We're going to present them a package that they cannot refuse. That's how we doing it. End of discussion. That's how we go.
Yeah.
So credit to the NBL and the incredible avenue they've created. Jeremy LaLiga, Larry Kesselman, that these are the heads of the NBL that created young talent for an opportunity to come down here and skip college and learn the physical side of grown man league and developing mentally as well as their game. So when your idols become rivals, that's what I call it.
Right. What about you have familiarity with the G League? I believe it was the D League when you were a part of it. How tough is that game, man? What are these kids about to get into, Jalen Green and these high school kids going into that league? As you said before about the NBL, where these guys are trying to feed the families, it's the same thing. Like, these guys are on the grind for just a sniff at a 10-day contract.
When I played in the D League, it's no different than what it is now. As you just said, a bunch of hungry, thirsty dogs.
Yeah.
Just trying to get to the NBA, so you better believe whenever, a guy who's come down from the league, we trying to go at him. So I can't even imagine the type of ass whippings these guys are going to take. Because, again, in overseas, there's 2 Americans per team, maybe 3. Then you played against a lot of locals where you may feel you may have an advantage because they're not American. You're playing against nothing but Americans in the D League, in the G League. So they have no idea, but that's the beauty of it. You can't grow if the waters aren't turbulent. You cannot grow when the level way above you. If it's your level, how you gonna grow? It's easy. You do not develop, so they need to get thrown in the lion's den, and get their behinds damn near eaten up. That's the reality of it. So, look, I wish them the best. I think this is a great initiative, and the wheels are turning as opposed to college having to open up and change how they do things.
That's awesome, man. That's great insight. Is there anything that I missed out on asking that you wanted to talk about? Anything that you have coming up in terms of like your own career, shows, anything that I didn't miss out on? Obviously, I don't know everything being here in Australia. I don't see, I just see what's on Instagram.
Right. There's a lot going on. I just partnered up with Foot Locker Australia. We're gonna do some sneaker drops. I got a cool project that we're gonna drop probably today's Thursday. Next week, we're doing a review on the KD 13s. Shout out to Easy Money Sniper.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm excited about this because the angle that I'm taking is, I had an opportunity out in street ball to get my own sneaker deal. I had my own signature shoe.
I remember K1X. I remember it, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So, I have no offense, but I was just tired of seeing sneaker review guys and review shows on social media by a guy who don't even play ball. How can you tell me about a basketball shoe and you don't even hoop? I cannot make a shoe review about golf, and a golf will look at that shoe or me, and take it serious like, yo, dude, you don't even play. How you gonna tell me about a shoe and you don't play?
Right.
You can tell me about a lifestyle shoe. I ain't mad at it, but I'm not listening to it. I have my own shoe. I understand what goes into the creative process about a shoe being made. You know what I'm saying? I know about it all. So I was hands-on with the whole project. So I just wanted to come from that angle: sneaker culture, New York City culture, basketball culture in New York, and how it all intertwines, as well as talking about the shoes. So I'm really excited about this opportunity. And a true New Yorker, you got to get busy during a drought. It's a drought right now. So you don't pause, we usually pivot. That's what this is.
Yeah, it's true. It's not adversity, it's opportunity.
No doubt.
Awesome, man. Yo, Corey, I really appreciate you taking your time to link up with Fresh Focus Sports on this podcast, man. It's been awesome reconnecting with you.
No doubt, man. I thank you for your time. It's always love. Always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, we'll definitely link up down the road, and I'm sure we got projects to link up on down the road and collab on something.
No doubt. Keep doing your thing. It was great to see you. And it was so coincidental. Great to see you in Australia, bro.
Yeah, for sure. That was real random. I think I was filming Donovan Mitchell going out to the court, and I was like, oh, Homicide, what's good?
Word. All right, bro. You take care, man.
Later, bro. Stay safe. Peace.
You too.
Thank you, everyone that joined. That was our 10th episode. Appreciate you guys. Peace.